Alright, so I finished the background layer and the midground layer of my fused glass desert diorama, and now I'm ready to create the foreground layer. So I started out by making test samples to see which greens were going to make the most unique cacti textures. And I of course documented the setup very carefully so I knew which greens were which and I had something to refer back to during future projects. Now that I know the colors and positioning I want to use for the cacti, I can go about building them. So here I've already cut and shaped the cacti from sheet glass, and I'm just going to glue on a bunch of spikes. And I'm just going to put those bad boys everywhere, like as per the pattern, but everywhere. Now for the round cacti, since I wanted the spikes to follow smooth curves, I glued down each line individually and then cut away segments of the pattern so I could use it to nudge them into place. Then I took all those spiky boys and tack fired them to make sure their details stayed in the correct position during the next part of the process, which is to fuse them onto the light brown landmass. In order to make sure that the cacti portions overhanging the land stayed perfectly horizontal instead of drooping downward, I positioned them on top of fiber paper, which is something very useful that I learned about back in part 2 of this project. So here's the setup within the kiln. They're ready for their next firing, which will attach them to their land base. And that did work, and here you can see they turned out really nicely. We got this little prickly pear dude. He's so chill. We got this tall saguaro bra, and he actually developed some really cool tech. I wasn't expecting the sheet gloss to warp around the stringers so much and be that bumpy, but I think it really adds like a nice realistic cacti vibe. And then these round guys with their alternating curved spikes, they're so fun to touch. So all in all, just really great firing results here. So now I can go ahead and put the background layer that I made in part 1 down, followed by the midground layer that I made in part 2, and lastly, the foreground layer that I just made now. So altogether, it really looks like a full little scene, and once I get it spaced out a little more and framed in the next video, I think it's really going to be something.